So to be able to ensure that the cadastral surveying system works to our specified purpose of ensuring the accuracy of the cadastre, there is a range of tight management of surveying standards and processes that that are put in place to ensure the consistency and the accuracy of New Zealand's cadastral system. So how does the cadastral surveying system work? It ensures that the accuracy of the New Zealand cadastre would depend on tight management of survey standards and processes. And all this is, let's not forget, it's set up by LINZ, so Land Information New Zealand. So the cadastre is what provides a record of all cadastral surveys that have been undertaken to determine the boundaries of land interests. So this is the definition of a cadastral survey. So it is a survey that is undertaken to determine the boundaries of land interests. So in defining and locating the boundaries of properties, and within those properties, the interests that fall within those properties and other rights and interests within that property. From after undertaking a cadastral survey, the new records of titles, so new titles can then be created after Land Information New Zealand approves and deposits a cadastral e-survey plan that is produced and signed by a licensed surveyor. So more details on this will be covered in land administration, in land development next year for you, and the whole process of transferring and creating e-survey plans will be shown to you. But at this stage, all you need to know is that once LINZ approves, they then deposits a cadastral e-survey plan that can then be produced and signed by a licensed cadastral surveyor. Then those new titles can be created. In the case of subdivisions, the local authority is who certifies the plan to verify that the subdivisional requirements and services have been met. So that is separate. So when we're talking about subdivisions, it is different to when we're talking about the creation of new land titles. So now that we've discussed the main functions and duties of Land Information New Zealand, in this part we will talk about the databases that are maintained by Land Information New Zealand, and the one that we've already discussed a few times is Landonline. So Landonline is a database that is maintained by LINZ, and what it actually is an online service where surveyors, lawyers, and other land professionals can have access to information, and that information is related to land title and surveying information in New Zealand. So Landonline provides access to New Zealand's only authoritative database. So that's the only one that's existing. Just the word authoritative database can then be used for accessing land title and surveying information. So from here, all land professionals can then search and lodge title dealings and survey data digitally to Landonline. So and then obviously they can also access that information. So they can search for the information as well as lodge title information and survey data digitally through LandOnline so that others can then access it when they need it. So the great thing about LandOnline is that it integrates all of New Zealand's cadastral as well as geodetic data. So all that information related to the geodetic surveys, the cadastral surveys, as well as the land title data. So it integrates all that information in one place and makes it quite accessible to anyone who needs it. So just briefly, I'll cover the background of how LandOnline was set up. There is a reading that I will post, so you can refer to it at any time. Just if you want extra reading about how LandOnline was set up and how the process of accessing information related to LandOnline, the logic behind how it was created and what information it stores, who can access that information, just refer to that reading, and you can just read more about it. But LandOnline was set up back in 1995 to automate New Zealand survey and land title systems. And then in 1996, LINZ took over the design and they built that information system as required. So through a few years following from 1996, a lot of our existing records and databases that were related to geodetic surveys, cadastral surveys, and land title information was then converted in a format that could then be stored on a database for LandOnline, which was made to be accessed online. So for that, more than 1.8 million live land title files were digitized, and a further 1.3 million land titles were cancelled title files. And the former, what we used to call the digital cadastral database, was also the initial system that was used to define LandOnline. So what this meant is that a lot of information related to parcels and boundaries was stored. So the boundary dimensions of 1.4 million land parcels from about 300,000 surveys, which involved the capture of about 13 million observations and the adjustment of 5 million geodetic surveying marks. So all of that was done in the first few years after the undertaking of the design and development of LandOnline. So as you can see, it was quite a big project to start, quite a big ambitious project, but from there it just evolved and continued to improve over the years. So initially, the electronic lodgement of the dealings and the survey plans was established under what was the Land Transfer Amendment Act of 2002. And in between brackets, it was the Land Transfer Computer Registers and Electronic Lodgement Amendment Act of 2002. So it had to be updated, and that's why the name was included in there with computer registers and electronic lodgement under the Land Transfer Amendment Act of 2002. And from there, also the Cadastral Survey Act of 2002. So the electronic lodgement didn't happen at once, so that took a while. It was phased in gradually, clearly because there was a lot of data to process and update, and a lot of surveys that needed to be done to update the geodetic reference system. So that took a while, but officially from February 2009 was when um, lodging survey or title information through LandOnline was made compulsory for all land professionals. So after that date in 2009, everything had to be done through LandOnline. So some additional information related to the contents of the LINZ databases. So LINZ databases related to LandOnline included contents such as system support, ED-links, e-surveys, territorial authorities, e-certifications, and e-searches. So you don't really need to go into details here, but uh, sometimes I just put a little bit of extra information on those slides just for your own background reading, but you don't really need to know all this information related to this slide. So in particular, this slide just yeah, you just don't need to remember what contents of LandOnline were set up or included within the setting up of LandOnline.